all the juicy parts, right? We're just going to skip to all the highlights. And I'm not saying that, you know, some people may find her background very interesting. I didn't know a lot of the things that she mentioned, whether if it was... Matter of fact, let's just go in order before we start jumping around. So Shawn Ryan opens up with Candace Owens, like, who is she? What is her background? He asked her a few questions that I didn't even know about. He definitely did his research on her. And you can just say he opens up with, like, who Candace was and how she grew up, her stating the relationship that she had with her grandfather, her parents, how, you know, after she moved out of the house, after all the kids were out of the house, how she, you know, how her parents divorced, and then basically what she was doing on her own. This crazy media, her first media interaction, or whatever you want to call it, happened in high school with, like, one of her best friends turning on her and basically saying some racist remarks that just exploded because he was the son of a mayor. Excuse me if I'm debungling, I don't know if that's the word for it, but excuse me if I'm mixing up any specific issues. I'm just trying to summarize everything in a nutshell. Then we go on to, you know, what happened. That was her senior year when she was involved with that. That was her first interaction with media. Then going into college, how college was. Then migrating after college and addressing the issue with her being sick and the photo that Trump basically put up of her. And then that migrated naturally to how she ended up at TPUSA, how she ended up meeting Charlie Kirk, how things unfolded rather quickly, and then her career path all the way up into her issue with the Daily Wire. She addressed the Daily Wire, her relationship with Jeremy Boring, how all that unfolded. And it was a lot. Obviously, they covered so much. I felt like that was just like the first 2 hours. And she did address things in Charlie Kirk within those 2 hours as well. But it was just a lot of things that we didn't know about Candace Owens. But this is where I want to react to you guys. So, as you know, she's been covering the Charlie Kirk case. She's been trying to find, for those who may not know, she's been trying to find who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. And the people who may have been implicated in his murder, or may have participated, or may have been a pawn, or whatever the case may be. As she's been investigating, things have been unfolding. But let's start off with this. Shawn Ryan asked her a question relevant based off of information that she obtained in the beginning when she still had communication with Andrew Colvett and the TPUSA team before things turned left. So I want you guys to hear from her first, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. So here we go.
He didn't do Charlie Kirk's show because Charlie didn't want to have him on. Again, something told to me as a fact by Andrew Colvett. Charlie refused to have Bibi Netanyahu on a show. So if you want to know how Charlie was feeling about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu, there's your answer. How people couldn't see the Israel threat in this doesn't make any sense to me.
I can't believe he said it was supposed to be you.
He did.
Does that scare you?
I mean...
You seem fearless.
We're all here for a blip, and I think it's not about not having any fears. It's about what scares me more, right? What scares me more is considering the world that our children will inherit if we stay quiet. Because we feel it right now. We feel the squeeze. We feel the evil. We feel the cloud. It's there. And you have a bunch of people who, whether it's for money or for fear, are allowing it to happen. And there are so many historical lessons about what can happen to a country when good men do nothing. And so what scares me is thinking about what's going to be like in America when my children are my age. Because I was too scared to say something when Charlie Kirk was publicly assassinated and the most powerful people in the country colluded to lie about it.
Okay, let's stop right there. We're not going to play the whole entire thing. But let's just dive into this because I have so many thoughts on this. So for one, it's crazy how Andrew Colvett said that to her. I agree with Shawn Ryan. For someone to say, like, that should have been you. Wild. Especially now, given how everything has unfolded between Andrew Colvett, TPUSA, and Candace Owens. In hindsight, I think that she's just like, I think in hindsight now, looking back, she's probably like, that was crazy. I don't have the words for it because it's so unbelievable, right? When it's unbelievable that even happened, right? We hear about John F. Kennedy Jr., we hear about MLK, we hear about all these assassinations that were successful. The assassination attempt with Trump was already crazy enough for us, right? For us Americans, some people don't pay attention to like world news, and people don't pay attention to their local news, but these are things that actually had everyone and their mother, whether you paid attention or not, speaking. So Charlie Kirk's murder literally happening on a global stage because it was live. Everyone has access to it. It's all over the internet. Was so shocking. And the fact that Andrew Kovitz said to Candace Owens, that should have been you. A mother, a wife, whether you agree with her or not, whether you agree with Charlie Kirk or not, I just want to put this out there. If you need to go to extreme measures to assassinate someone or to kill someone, in my opinion, allegedly, to everything I said, everything I'm going to say, allegedly in general, this is just my opinion. If you need to go through those lengths to silence, to make your point, to build fear, to do whatever, I don't think that you have actual power. I think you're a coward. And I think that at the end of the day, if you don't have the aura, if you don't have the natural gift to lead, to dominate, to empower, it's because you're not worthy of the power. And that goes for me. I'm not saying that I am. I'm not saying that. This is my opinion. Like, I'm not saying that I'm worthy of power. There's so few people that are actually worthy of power. And so surprising fact, most of the people who are in a position to empower people, to influence people without bringing about violence, they don't want to lead. They hide in their shell. Maybe they'll give their comments here and there. Maybe they'll even be vocal. But when the opportunity comes for them to step up and take power, oh no, they're like, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. And I get it. But my point is that was crazy. That was basically an unbelievable thing to even think that someone would say that to a mother, to a wife, to someone who was really close to Charlie, and then to have things unfold the way that they did. It makes you think, because obviously people are making the assumptions that Andrew Kovitz has some type of part in possibly, allegedly, just reporting on what's out there. People are speculating that Andrew Kovitz had a part to play in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Again, allegedly. I don't want no problems. I already dealt with lawsuits. I'm done. Don't want to deal with them ever again. Allegedly. With that being said, since we alleged that speculation out there, right? It's only right that we speculate that if he said that to Candace, maybe the same involvement that he may have partaken, unknowingly or knowingly, whatever, allegedly, with Charlie, he may have had with Candace. Maybe even someone would speculate, allegedly, maybe, that in his mind, the target was Candace. So he was going through with it all the way through. But at the end, when the real target emerged, and the target was shot and taken down, and he realized, oh crap, I conspired, allegedly, against my own friend, my business partner, thinking it was going to be someone else. I got played for a fool. Now I have to protect myself. That is just my general thoughts, guys. That is just my opinion. I'm not saying it is facts. I'm not saying it to discredit Andrew Kovitz. I'm not saying to discredit TPUSA. I'm not saying to say that they have any involvement. This is just me speculating as a spectator, right? Because I think it's a very interesting comment to say to someone. That's not something that you say to someone, I think, like, ever. Even if, like, honestly, I'm sorry, but even if you were going to participate or play a part in the assassination of someone allegedly, you guys are going to see me say it a lot. I don't think you would say that to them. I don't think, and if he did, whether you didn't, I don't know. We don't know if you had a part. We don't know if you were innocent bystander. We don't know if, whatever. We don't know, allegedly. We don't know anything. We're just speculating right now. But if you did play a part knowingly or unknowingly, maybe you, whatever, right? Why would you say that to somebody? That is just the oddest thing to say. And then on top of that, you know what? We're not even going to get into it. We still got some other things to review. But before we get into the next portion of this interview that I want to get into, Candace said something that was very important. And, you know, Shawn Ryan asked her, like, are you scared? Do you have fear? And I like how she responded because I think it was genuine. I do think it was genuine. I think her obviously, if you guys didn't catch that, she basically said, like, there are other things that I'm more scared of. I'm scared to live in a world or see where the world is going and see that it's going downhill and know that this is the world and this is the country that my children are going to grow up in. And when they're my age, I'm afraid of what that world will look like. And I think this is something that we've said over and over and over and over and over again. And I just want to harp on this real quick, guys. Because to me, I can't tell you guys how much I align and agree with that. Whether you agree with Candace Owens overall, whether you're a fan of hers, an enemy of hers, you dislike her, I think when it comes to the betterment and future of the youth, of children, this is something that we should all be, like, putting our focus on. That we should all be aligned on. Because I'm concerned about the future of children. When you have a world that goes unchecked with people who commit crimes against humanity, such as sex trafficking children, such as MKUltra, such as, kidnapping, war crimes, egregious things to little children, whether if it's for sacrificial stuff allegedly, whether if it's for their own pleasure, it's all disgusting, it's all inhumane, and it all needs to stop. And the fact that, like, we reached this point and it's getting worse with all the exposure that's coming out there because it's going unaddressed and it's going unchecked is not a world that I would want my kids, that I want my nieces, my nephews, my friends' children, my business partners' children, any children strangers' children, any child. I don't want any child, any person coming up, teenager, youth, young adult, to go into a world that necessarily doesn't give them any hope. You already have concerns about AI and taking away human autonomy. You already have concerns about these horrendous crimes going unchecked. It's like, what more does it take for us to want to stand up and do something, stand up and say something, stand up and make a difference? And I don't know much about Candace, and I'm getting to know her views a little bit more and stuff like that. So, this is not me saying, like, hey, I'm a fan of Candace, I agree with everything that she's saying. No. With that specific point, I think that we should all be aligned. I think that we should all be unified in saying, like, hey, we may not agree in 99% of topics, but when it comes to a better future for children and for humanity, we should be aligned. It should be no questions there. That's just my take. I think that people could put their pride aside, put their differences aside, and understand that there's greater things outside of themselves that they can serve a purpose for. Like, oh, if you're not on my team, you're not with me. If you're not with me, you're against me. I'm sorry, with all due respect, shut up. No one individually is that important, and no one's individually more important than the future of humanity, let alone the future of children. And if we don't do something about it now, I'm afraid it's going to be too late. So I'm putting my pride to the side. I'm putting my pride to the side, my knowledge, my lack of knowledge, anything to the side to say, like, hey, who do I have to partner with? Who do I have to work with that's aligned with truly creating a better future for children? Because that's what's important overall. I want my nieces, my nephews, I don't have children yet, and God willing, one day I will. But I want the children that I encounter, strangers' children, the children of my family, my friends' children, people that I may encounter in business, old colleagues, old co-workers, any children, I want them to have a fair chance. I didn't grow up in the most perfect way, and obviously we were very in the dark with everything that was going on in the world because we didn't have social media the way that we had it growing up. I was kind of in that phase where technology was coming about very quickly. I was, I was born in 97. Like, I really don't care if that ages me. Like, I love myself and I love my age, and you guys should honor every step that you guys are in. But I know some women don't. I'm just not one of those women. But I was born in 97, so, like, I got to experience, like, kind of, like, the old school way of going outside, making friends, laughing, but got to see all the technological, advancements that were going on merging into the 2000s and then the early 2000s and all the way up until we are now. So it's been a privilege, but I got to see the world change in so many different ways. And if we can just understand that there's a lot of benefits to the advancement of technology, to, social justice, there's a lot of advantages to that. But there's also a lot of great things and advantages to how things were done back then. And I think that if we logically just set our pride aside, set our preferences aside, and look at things objectively and say, what truly is better for the average person, for the average child, for the average human? What will progress us forward long term that doesn't destroy us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and overall? And maybe there's another category that I'm missing, whatever, right? I think that's how we should approach things. And I think that, it's going to take people, good people, to truly just get out of their comfort zone, get out of their shell. Even people who may not be so good. And I'm not going to say may not be so good, because we're all sinners, right? There's no such thing as a perfect person or anything like that. We all have opportunities. But if there's someone who's willing to stand up and truly make change, and truly do things that are good, and truly just like move a path forward that is truly an ideal way that almost everyone on the earth that is good people, or everyone who is a good person on the earth can agree to move forward, then I think we can make it happen. It's going to take us just putting our own desires aside, our own selfish needs aside, our own pride aside, or even maybe our own preferences aside, and collectively think about the bigger problems objectively. We don't got to talk about what religion you are. We don't have to talk about what your preferences in marriage is. We don't have to talk about how you decide to work out, or if you're a helpless romantic, or if you're not, if you're rich or you're poor. I'm trying to say, like, we can put those differences aside. If you're competent, capable, and willing, and respectable enough to yourself and others, and can come to the table with no ego, with no pride, and look at things objectively, at least on the issues that would affect everyone, regardless of their personal stance on certain issues, whether if it's religion, whether if it's finances, whatever the case may be, and truly have a conversation, and then have that conversation drive true change, then I don't know why we can't do it. In my head, it's like so simple. It really is. But what's complicated about this is that there are people who rather live divided because of their egos, instead of putting things aside, at least for specific issues, right? You can go to killing each other when it comes to religion. You can go to killing each other when it comes to whether it's capitalist or socialist, whatever the case may be. But overall, like, should we be educating our children? What should we be educating them on? Should we be giving programs and opportunities? Should we be stopping people who are trafficking them? Should we be holding these people accountable? Those issues, I think collectively, regardless of where you stand on other issues, you'd be like, yeah, I think our kids could get educated. Absolutely. I think that we should educate them on the basics of home equity. Not home equity, of home economics, of, I'm getting super passionate, of finances, of how to garden, of how to cook, of how to clean, of how to be like just a good person, of communication, of understanding, of how to read, of stranger danger. Don't talk to people on the internet that you don't know. Don't go into someone's van, all this other stuff, like basic things, right? I think that we can agree on. Let's get back to the basics, I think. But you know what? I just went on like a whole, like almost 20 minutes of me just like going off the mouth, right? So let's get into this other portion of the interview that I want to talk about. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Everything has been strange. Most of all his wife. And watching there's this almost subhuman answer that they are trying to provide, which is, well, we have money. We have power, so just get in line.
Okay, so disclaimer. I know I didn't get a disclaimer before about the part that we were getting into. Candace is about to like unleash her genuine thoughts on Erika. I think Candace has been very vocal on her show when it comes to this. I think Candace, has not held back when it comes to certain things, specifically with Erika. That's why she is receiving the backlash that she is. But I think it's good for people who may not be keeping up with this, or in general, to understand like her laying it out in like layman's terms, her view on Erika. We got a little bit of it, but let's continue.
Like that's gonna be the cure here for all the skepticism, is just to apply more money, more influencers, more attacks on the people who are looking into it. I mean, Turning Point USA attacking Joe Kent. I mean, it's just for trying to investigate whether there could have been any foreign ties. Think about how bizarre that is.
Oh, I know.
And what's more bizarre is that they don't recognize it as bizarre when they do it. What's wrong with these people? The social IQ there is something that disturbs me. Their inability to understand that what they're doing is going to register to the public as remarkably suspicious. Case in point, did no one tell you that you shouldn't be on a Zoom call laughing about emojis 6 days after your husband got killed? Does someone have to tell you that? What has been rinsed out of you that you don't recognize that there's something deeply wrong with that? To get onto a Zoom call 11 days after he's been assassinated and say, we're moving on with Turning Point 2.0. My husband is dead. Not to be morbid, but he's dead. That's acceptance.
Do you think that she had something to do with it? She was complicit? Or we were talking about this earlier. I came here from Boca Raton, Florida. It's the shallowest fucking place on the planet. You see 19-year-old girls with 76-year-old men every single day playing tonsil hockey and more, and that's just what that place is. Do you think that maybe when they met, she was, she just saw a paycheck, and she's a narcissist and had no feelings, no love, no nothing for him, just wanted to marry into a guy who's making $150 million a year?
Even if everything you just said was true, she was motivated by money to marry him, she didn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly, right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction. Mm-hmm. So who would you say is his arch nemesis?
We're going to stop right there, you guys, because it got really spicy really quickly. And there was more things that got spicy. But we're not going to cover everything in this video. We're already almost 30 minutes into this. And we still have like 2 other things I want to show you guys. But I want to get my thoughts on that because it got really spicy. And I just want to say for the people out there who may be pro Erika, the people out there who may be pro Candace, I'm not taking sides here. I'm seeing how things unfold because guess what? I'm not involved in it. I don't know Charlie. I feel bad for him and I hope that he gets justice. That's what out of everything that's going on, that's where I stand. I want true justice, whatever it looks like in the end for Charlie. Because guess what? He's the only person that's living and breathing right now. Whether you're pro Candace and, I could appreciate how much she's like spearheading and pushing the envelope to get answers. I appreciate that. I'm not taking sides here because I would really like to see how things unfold in general because sometimes things will just throw you for a loop. So I'm not here to criticize Erika. I will say, in my opinion, if what they're saying is true, that is crazy. That is wild, you guys. That is something else. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on anyone to be with someone, whether male or female, that is just with you for the benefits and them just feeding you a lie in order to obtain those things and playing a role. Listen, obviously, let's just get into it. Let's just get into all the, the conversations in it a little bit. So obviously there has been some speculation with what happened between Charlie Kirk and Erika towards the end of his life, specifically the last month. Allegedly, there may have been in the beginning process of a separation, maybe would have went through a divorce, who knows? But apparently there was some strains on the marriage. Now we're going to speculate here. We're not saying that we know. We're not insiders, guys. We're just giving our opinions here. Allegedly. In my opinion, I think that maybe because of how she reacted to Charlie, is dying and moving on and all this other stuff and forgiving the person who killed him. I'm gonna say this before we even get into my speculation, right? I'm gonna say this to you guys. I'm not married yet. Keep hope alive. I'm not married yet. But I can tell you, the Lord will have to work with me personally. Like he might have to send an angel down personally to work with me, because oh my gosh, it will take, I don't know what it would take for me to forgive someone who killed my husband. Listen, I would not let up. If anything, I'm not even gonna say it here because you never know. But let's just say, like, I just won't let up. I will be going in. I'm choosing my words carefully here. I'd be going in if someone murdered my husband. I'd be going after everybody verbally in whatever ways the law allows, right? Off the wind. Pressing everyone, especially like, listen, if I'm with my husband, his duty is to protect me, right? Obviously. But you have eyes too, girly. So if I'm not saying she was with him. Obviously, she wasn't with him. So we're gonna bypass that. We're gonna bypass that. Whatever, right? Leave that alone. But if I was in the same situation as Erika, allegedly, not hoping that was not the case, and I find out that my husband was murdered, the security team failed, his staff failed, the people around him failed, everyone who was there failed, I would be, I'd be ripping everyone to pieces verbally in whichever way the law allows. We get justice for my husband. Oh, without question. I don't care if it's this alleged person, the security team we beefing with the staff that was there. I'm beefing with the alleged shooter. I'm beefing with the actual shooter that we're going to investigate happened. I'm beefing with everyone. No one is going to hold me back. No one, I would not have, I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm usually very composed. But when it comes to the people I love, if you mess with them, listen, you will see a whole different side of Sharon. That she'd be like, is that really Sharon? No, that's not Sharon. That's not Sharon. You don't want to find out. And I could see that's why the energy that Candace has. But you know what? We're going to digress from that. Let's get to the speculation part. Get you back to the original part. To rewind you guys back, we were talking about what they commented on as far as if, she faked love for him. If she was just playing a part to obtain the benefits. And I was saying that allegedly there was probably some strains in their marriage and there was probably some threats or the beginning in his last couple months of a separation or possibly a divorce that was going to happen between them. And I would say this is me speculating. There's only but so much and but so long you can keep up and act. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, who you are naturally will come out. If you love this person or not, it will come out. So it's important for you to be honest about where you stand and not get into something just for the sake of getting into something, just for the sake of benefits. Listen, Shawn Ryan mentioned this, that small anecdote about that there's women in a certain area that are pretty shallow, that they just care about money and, they'll be with older men, blah, blah, blah. We're not here to judge people. And you know what? Teach us them. Right? But I just want to say for people out there, ideally, don't be with someone that you don't love. Don't be with someone that you secretly hate. I don't care how long you can put on a facade. Eventually, something's going to split. And if you're in a situation, and this is for the person on the other side, the person who genuinely cares about this person, the person who wants to make it work, listen, be careful. Be careful. Because people can play a role to obtain the things that they want from you. And then in the end, listen, there's been times where people have lost their lives, not maybe in the sense that Charlie Kirk has, but sometimes there are husbands and wives that murder their spouses to obtain the benefits because they don't no longer want to deal with them. Sometimes they never loved them and they're cheating behind their back. Sometimes, you know, the story just gets deeper and uglier and uglier and uglier. And you know what? It's too common. It's so common. That's why I'm not in a rush, you guys, to just like say willy-nilly and just get married and whatever. Because you can love the person. Ooh, listen, you can love the person deeply. But it needs to be reciprocal for it to work. Truly work. To have long-term happiness, a healthy love, it needs to be reciprocal. It needs to be mutual. This is my saying. Some people disagree with me. Some people don't. But this is what I say. If love is real, and we're talking about romantic love, there's different variations of love with family love, friendships, you know, passion. When I say passion, I mean the passion for something, whether if it's art, whether if it's music. Those are different kinds of love, right? We're specifically talking about romantic love as far as, you know, marriage and companionship. Specifically, you know, with two people in general. I say, you know, this is how you know the love is real. When it's mutual and when it lasts. If it's not those two things for me, and people are going to disagree with me, frankly, I don't care. If it doesn't last and it's not mutual, it wasn't love. Maybe infatuation, maybe deep care, maybe genuine affection. And I feel like as humans, we have a tendency of confusing those things with actual love. You may feel a deep regard for someone. You may feel a passion, a deep desire for someone. But it's not love unless it's mutual and unless it's lasting. If it's not, it was never love. And we can get into that in another video. But I hope that isn't true about Erika. I really do. And if it is, you know, Charlie unfortunately was just another victim. I'm not saying that she was complicit in this. I'm not saying she's not. I don't know the facts. This is all allegedly. This is just my opinion. But clearly, if this is true, Charlie was bamboozled to the highest degree. And he paid the ultimate price for it. The loss of his life and the loss of being a father to his children for the rest of their lives.